Hello everyone, back tuning into our winter 2016-2017 sneak peek. So we've already done the autumn forecast, but video is here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and you'll find the autumn forecast video underneath the link ads. So you can watch that. It's also going to be placed on the autumn updates and forecast page very shortly. There'll be a written post to go with it as well later on this afternoon. So you can't watch the video, you can read the forecast on the autumn updates and forecast page. Now that the autumn updates and the forecast is done and dusted and out of the way, the bandwagon rolls on and we move on to our next season of long-range forecasting. And the next season within the longer range is going to be the winter 2016-2017. So that's what we're going to be doing for this second video on this sunny afternoon. We're going to be looking just very briefly at a few models just to whet your appetite a little bit before we actually do the first autumn 2016-2017 update next Sunday, a week today. That's when we'll release the first update, and then we'll do an update for winter of 2016-2017 every single Sunday from next week right way through to the end of November. The actual winter 2016-2017 forecast will be released at the start of December. I'm not penciling the day yet, but it's normally around the first day of December. We'll have 3 model updates during September, October, November, as well as all the winter updates where we look at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature in the Atlantic and Pacific, how quickly snow cover is advancing across Siberia, etc., etc. So it's all going to be getting very exciting next week, and as a way to get you in the mood for that, I thought we would start with the sneak peek today. So before you get on with that, just say about the ads at Gaswell. This has links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links. You'll be helping us to pay for our website. Thanks so much for doing that. There's also video ads on most of the pages. They open content and watch my close book at the end. Does all help to pay for GaswellBiz.com. So we're going to start off with some models, and just going to look at 4 of them. We're not going to look at the entire model suite that we do in model updates. We've got an old friend to begin with, so let's get on with it, and here we go. Now, do you recognise this? You probably don't, because it looks very different to what the charts usually look like. This is the Beijing Climate Centre. I've been having a play around at the Beijing Climate Centre. Remember, the long range model hasn't been updating there since June. We haven't had a seasonal update from the long range model since June. I've been having a play around, and I think what's happened is that the old model has been taken offline. It's been kind of mothballed. And I think we've got a new version of the Beijing Climate Centre. I think it's had an upgrade. So what you're looking at there is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the winter of 2016-2017 from the new version of the Beijing Climate Centre. This is very, very exciting stuff for us weather geeks when we get new models, particularly long-range models to play around with. It's always very, very exciting. Now, it looks very different to what we're used to from the Beijing Climate Centre. So I'm going to explain where the British Isles is. We're still in the far top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at, as we normally are on these long-range model charts. We're up there. You can't really see it because of the intensity of the colours, but I can assure you we are there. Scandinavia is on this side of the chart over here. So it's still the same broad outline as what we had before with the Beijing Climate Centre charts, just they look rather different in terms of the colours. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly for the winter of 2016-2017. It's generated this month, August. And red extrapolates to high pressure, blue to low pressure, so that's still the same idea. What the model is going for is a big ridge of above average heights to the east and to the northeast of the country. You might think that's a cold scenario, but there is a complicating factor because it extends to a ridge in the Atlantic that goes down to the eastern side of America, actually. So it's a rather odd looking chart, and then there's a trough of low pressure underneath it through the central part of the Atlantic. So what initially perhaps looks like quite a decent signal for a Scandinavian high actually places us onto a mild flow with the wind coming up something a bit like that, and we're dragging up sort of southerly, perhaps at times southeasterly. It really is quite a bizarre chart, but that's what it's doing. It's placing us in quite a mild southerly southeasterly flow. So the temperature anomaly actually comes out milder than average for this winter. There we go, we're in those yellow colours there, quite a mild winter being signalled. The precipitation anomaly, have to check this is right, yes it is, precipitation anomaly also comes out drier than average. So a lot of anticyclonic influences, but we're on the mild side. There's a mild flow with that, and basically a mild, dry type winter. Now, really exciting, this new model from Beijing Climate, or updated model, because not only do we have seasonal, the seasonal 3 monthly anomaly maps, we've also got individual monthly anomaly maps as well. So I'll be able to do kind of like what we do with the CFS V2 and CanSIBs. I'll be able to do like a 6-month look ahead using the next 6 months worth of charts. Really upgraded what the model gives us. I think the Beijing Climate Centre have done. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of this model over the next few months, and we'll see how the new version of the Beijing Climate Centre performs. Right, next one to look at is Jamstec IOD. I'm going to whistle through these very quick because, as I say, it's only a sneak peek to get you ready for next week. Jamstec is going for a milder than average winter. Actually, I've got the wrong chart up there. So that's September to November. Let's see what the actual winter chart does. Here it is. And nearly made a mistake there, didn't I? Here it is. And it's still going for a milder than average winter. But not to quite the same extent as we just looked at for the autumn. Actually, France and Spain coming out generally a little bit cooler than average down there. So let's go through to precipitation. That's also shown September to November. So we'll go through. This is the winter precipitation anomaly from Jamstec, and that's going for drier than average conditions to the south around here, and it's wetter to the north. So you can see what's going on there. Why it's a milder than average winter. We've got low pressure up to the north, we've got high pressure to the south. That high pressure is keeping it quite cool across France and Spain. So that's the reason they're coming out cooler than average. But the jet stream, it's all Atlantic based. It's coming through the UK like that. So it's a mild winter for us because on the mild side of the jet stream. And the only reason France and Spain is colder than average is because they're under that ridge, which probably extends down to the Azores. So a mild Atlantic-driven winter, albeit not overly wet, signal from the Jamstec model. Our UK Met Office model next, our very own Glow C5. This doesn't cover the full winter period yet. They'll come on stream next month. But this goes from November to January. It's as flat as a pancake. Look at this. Meaning that sea level pressure anomalies have low pressure over the UK and to the north. High pressure through the Azores, extending in towards Spain and France. The jet stream coming right through the country like that. It's, as I say, flat as a pancake. Mild, Atlantic-driven winter, and probably quite wet, will be expected there. Temperature anomalies coming out milder than average, not excessively mild, but certainly above average for temperatures, and rainfall, as you would expect with an Atlantic-driven signal as strong as that. Precipitation is coming out wetter than average. So not a great deal to go on so far if you want a cold week, but remember it's very, very early days. We are only in August. CFS V2 next, and finally for the models, it's a little bit more interesting because we've got some yellow colours up over polar fields. CFS V2 keeps doing this. It keeps bring some blocking in its winter 16-17 forecast in terms of the heights into the north, and then it takes them away again, and then it keeps bringing them back. So I think it's playing with something. I'm not quite sure what it is, but at the moment it is going for some blocking around Greenland and Iceland, and then we've got a trough through the central part of the Atlantic. Also, if you come over here, we've got a trough around northeastern parts of Europe. So it's a bit of a bizarre looking chart, but it's not excessively zonal, I wouldn't have thought. And if this signal for blocking over Greenland and Iceland gets any stronger, then you would expect things to start turning quite cold from the north and from the northeast. So that's a more interesting one. And the CFS, as I say, keeps playing with this idea of putting in blocking around Greenland and Iceland, and then it keeps taking it away. But as long as it keeps putting it back again, then you can say perhaps that it is playing with something. This time last year, it was very, very much set on Atlantic zonal type conditions. It isn't doing that at the moment. However, temperature anomalies are still coming out significantly milder than average for the whole of Europe. British Isles is included. I'm not quite sure how it gets that mild, really, from this signal, because, I mean, we've got this trough here across northeastern Europe, so that's going to be a cold trough with this ridge up here. You're going to be entrenching cold air, at the very least, into eastern and northeastern parts of Europe, and yet, in terms of the temperature anomaly, that's where actually the mildest temperatures are, where I would have thought it's likely to be quite cold under that low pressure. So I'm not sure what it's doing there. Sometimes the CFS does go off on a tangent, and I don't think that temperature anomaly really makes sense in terms of its 700 millibar height anomaly. Eastern and particularly northeastern Europe, this area around the Baltic, should be significantly colder than that. Nevertheless, CFS-B2 going for a mild winter. And in terms of precipitation, near normal overall. Again, you see it is a bit wetter up here where we've got this trough around the Baltic Sea. And again, I would have thought it's fairly cold for Scandinavia, northeastern parts of Europe, but the CFS V2 not going for that yet. But it is a model that very much gets into a rut, really. And once it sees mild conditions, it has a job to break out of them. So that's the four models that I wanted to show you. Also, of course, last weekend we did my interpretation of the ECMWF. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly in terms of my interpretation of the seasonal model from the ECM. Remember, ECMWF seasonal model is very much restricted access model, so the general public can't see it. That's the reason I've had to do an interpretation of what I saw. I won't go into story again, but essentially it is showing, again, similar perhaps in some ways to what the CFS is doing with that trough through the Baltic Sea and across eastern and northeastern parts of Europe, signs of above average heights of high pressure up to the north around Greenland and Iceland. You would expect that at the very least to produce some northeasterly influences. So it's not all doom and gloom if you want colder winter, although we've got to read between the lines a little bit of CFS V2 and the ECM seasonal model. There is enough there to be playing around with. So we're going to see how the models perform over the next few months anyway. As I say, there are going to be model updates all of the 3 autumn months, and also I'll carry on hopefully being able to do the interpretation of the ECMWF seasonal model. But next week, it all starts to get going in terms of the winter updates. So what we do for those updates is we look at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature anomalies in the Atlantic Ocean, how quickly snow cover advances across Siberia. In fact, I can show you the latest situation across Siberia right now. Now, this is for Friday, August 26th. I'm doing the video on Saturday evening, 27th. Let's see whether it's updated yet to show Saturday's chart. No, it hasn't. That's a nuisance. But this is what it is this is what it was showing on Friday, and already we have got a few white patches beginning to appear across eastern and northeastern parts of Siberia. We'll, as well as everything else we look at through the winter updates, we will monitor how quickly the snow gathers in the east and then advances across Siberia, Russia, and eventually by November and December it will arrive into northern and eastern Europe as well. The start of the update, so next week's update and the ones after that, will focus specifically on what's going on over the North Pole in terms of Arctic sea ice melt. Arctic sea ice on these charts is indicated by this yellow area just here. It's another big melt season, I can tell you that, and we're going to be monitoring how that compares to past years next week, and then probably the week after that. This is always one of the first things we begin to look at. This graph is going to show you every year back to 1979 and how we compare in terms of the Arctic sea ice extent this year, and this red line is where we are, so you can see that we are well, again, as we have been for most years since around since around 2007, we're well under the trend line. You'll be able to see next week how we compare this year in terms of Arctic sea ice melt, how we compare this year compared to every year back to 1979. That's going to be a lot of fun. So it's all kicking off next week. Hope you enjoyed our little Winter 16-17 sneak peek. It's just to whet your appetite for what's to come. Next week is when the fun and games really begin. It's game on, if you like, next Sunday with the first Winter 2016-2017 update at gasservice.com. I'll see you there. Right, that's all for now. Don't forget to check out the autumn forecast if you've not yet done so. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.